Hello and welcome back. This is not Music Monday, but Mindfulness Monday with Johnny Tiger and
Kitten.
Kirsten. Um, you guys can't see it. I was going to do a Music Monday and I was going to show off our new kitchen table. It's really cool. New kitchen table. Almost lost a friend over it, but it's pretty cool. Table from IKEA. And yeah, I know we weren't very nice. Look, we tried to get people to help us with the table, and I even made a video about that, about friendship, right? So I want to sort of start this video by uh, giving you guys the end of the story on that one because I know on that friendship episode I I did not uh, at the time have this resolved. The table wasn't put together. Kitten and I we were eating in the kitchen using an old folding picnic table. It was really sad. No, okay, it wasn't really that sad, um, but what the heck is that?
It sounds like applause.
Yeah, like why would I even have applause in the background? I need to go back and delete that music track and that with I thought I have the all pretty well tailored, but apparently I missed one. Anyway, first let's start with today's date. Today is Monday, September 16th. So, been a few weeks since we had that table episode. So what I ended up having to do to get that table put together was I had to get one of our friends who was very knowledgeable, very handy with putting together things. At the time, I had no idea that he had some childhood hang up about IKEA. How was I supposed to know that the guy is traumatized from childhood with IKEA furniture? I didn't know that. So anyway, it was his birthday, so I say, why don't you come over for birthday lunch, and we bought lunch, and we'll hang out. And of course, after he arrived, I asked, hey, you want to help me with this table? And because we are really good friends, he didn't say no, but he was very unhappy, very, very pissed off. To quote his own words, he said, Johnny, you do not ever spring IKEA furniture on somebody last minute. It's not a nice thing to do. Yeah, okay, I know it wasn't a nice thing to do, but we were really desperate. We couldn't find anyone to help us put this sucker together. Um, for those of you, is there anyone out there who's not familiar with IKEA furniture? Like if you are not familiar with IKEA furniture, you may think, well, what's the big deal? Put together a table. Honestly, that was my thought too. What's the big deal? It's just a table. It's a piece of wood and four legs. That's it. It's not until you open this up, you open out the box, and there's like 500 screws in there, and the table comes in like 1,000 little pieces, and you have to screw this on, wedge that in, hammer this in, and push that while pulling this. It's like a gigantic Lego project. It took our friend and me almost 6 hours to get the whole thing put together, and he was actually so sick and tired of putting in the screws. He basically said, "Hey, come here. You got the muscles. I'll point. You'll screw. I say put the screw here. You put the screw here. Don't mess up." So for the entire day, he basically uh, showed me where he wanted screws put in, and I was the muscle. I was a manual screw gun. If one thing that came out of that experience was, I think we need to buy an electric screw gun for the for future. What makes things a lot easier. Um, but yeah, he left at the end of the day very sweaty and dirty and unhappy. And uh, how long did he not talk to us? I think 2 weeks, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
2 weeks. We didn't hear a word from him. And so I was telling kitchen and say, "Well, we got our kitchen table. We might have lost a friend." The guy wasn't happy. Uh, but that's the story of our dinner table. It's not really what I want to talk about today. You guys know this. Usually, when there's a special segue episode, like rather than Music Monday, you get Mindfulness Monday. Well, rather than Wisdom Wednesday, you get something. Usually, something that really on our mind that we want to get it out of the way. It's what I personally call blind person bitching time. Okay, so this is one such episode. We want to address something that hopefully will, for most of you, raise a bit of blind awareness. If you ever deal with blind people, have blind friends, non-visual friend, visually impaired friend, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I'm not very PC. Okay, you can say blind in front of me all day long. It's okay, I don't mind. But some people prefer to say non-sighted, non-visual, visually impaired, sight impaired. There's like a gazillion different terms out there, and people tend to prefer different terms. So just to be aware of that. Okay, so for the expediency of the rest of the video, we're going to stick to the term blind. Hopefully, it doesn't offend anybody too badly. But this obviously, this this what we're going to be talking about today really applies to most disabled people. Okay, like for blind people, it's bad. And for people in wheelchair, would be bad. But I think generally speaking, this applies to most disabled people in a certain degree. We are going to talk about how traumatizing Lyft and Uber rides can be for blind people or disabled people. Okay, again, I'm just going to focus on blind people because uh, I I don't know the experience of someone who's in a wheelchair. I don't know the experience of someone who's mentally challenged. I'm sure they can speak for themselves. I'm just going to come at this from a blind person point of view. A lot of people, a lot of my friends, uh, when I say, "Hey, uh, George, can you go order this for me online? Can you look at this Amazon link, or can you go to the store and pick this up for me?" A lot of my friends will say, well, it's really simple. You just like take call Lyft and you go to the store and you get it, like or you just order it online. And if you don't like it, you can go to the post office, take a Lyft to the post office, and return it. It's very simple. I'm flattered that maybe a lot of my friends forget that I'm blind. Maybe a lot of my friends don't think about that something as simple as going to a store or going to a post office can be traumatic for someone who seems really tough like me. But this is why we're doing today's episode. I want to raise awareness that this is something that happens to almost every blind individuals on a regular basis, and something that uh, I want people to be aware of, that it's really traumatizing. Okay. Um, let's look at a few of the smaller incidences with Lyft and Uber. I'll just stick to Lyft. I'm not targeting Lyft because Uber is just as bad. It's just Kitten and I use Lyft more often. Okay, so this happened to us with Lyft more often. Right? So a few of the smaller incidences. Just a couple of weeks ago, Kitten and I were waiting for a Lyft ride. The driver took 7 minutes to arrive, and then when the driver arrived, he saw that we were blind, and he drove off. Like, what kind of crap is this? And the worst part is when they drive off like this and they cancel your ride, and you can't even complain to Lyft or Uber about it because Once the ride is cancelled, it erases all their information from your screen. So unless you make a habit of noting down every driver's license and car model and all that stuff when you place your order for the ride, you have no way to go back and say to the Lyft, "Hey, my driver did this." Okay, it's very frustrating. So we have this happened to us multiple times, right? Driver come up, see that a blind person have a white cane, or see that a blind person have a guide dog, and the driver just turn and drive off. Do you guys have any idea how damaging this is on somebody? This is like it's almost like someone drive off and see that you are black, and they drive off, or someone pull up and see that you're Chinese and they drive off. It's not supposed to be okay in a country like this, and yet Lyft gets away with it. Lyft drivers get away with it every day. Right? Now, some people will say, well, yeah, but it's free, like it's a personal enterprise. It's like their own business. They're freelancers. It's a self-employed, so you can't regulate that. Bullshit, you can't. Okay, they have to use a platform to register. They get 5-star ratings. They get rated. They get tipped. Okay, there's a central platform that they're responsible to. You can't tell me that Lyft driver can walk around raping people or hitting people and they don't have to answer for it, right? Yes, I'm going to extreme, but that should say that Lyft driver shouldn't be able to, Uber driver shouldn't be able to walk around, drive around being racist, sexist, or being prejudiced against disabled people and have no consequences. It's not okay. Yeah, I don't care what kind of private business, what kind of self-employment it is. It shouldn't be okay. Okay, I am self-employed too. Me being a martial art instructor, I'm self-employed too. But the rules I have to go by. I can't just walk around and teach everybody how to kill people with a knife, right? I can't just do that and get away with it. I can't kick out students just because they happen to be a certain ethnicity and not expect any consequences. If I say to a blind student, I am not going to teach you because you're blind, most likely I'm going to get sued, right? So why is it okay for Uber drivers and Lyft drivers? Now, that's just one of the more minor traumatizing things that we have experienced with Uber. We have experienced another one. This one was in California. Uh, we were coming home, and the Uber driver showed up, did not speak a word of English. He's a Chinese guy in California. A Chinese guy in California didn't speak a word of English. Good Lord, I was glad that I was with Kitten that day. If it was Kitten getting into that guy's car, it would be totally traumatizing for the both of them. The guy would have no idea where to take her, and she would have no idea what to say to him. It just happened that I spoke both English and Mandarin. So, and even then, the guy dropped us off at the wrong place. Okay, this is another traumatizing thing with traveling blind. When your driver drop you off at the wrong place, you have no idea that you're at the wrong place until you're out of the car and the guy drove off and you're like, wait a second, this doesn't feel like home. Oh crap, where am I? Luckily for us, we just called Kitten's nephew who
Yes.
was visiting at the time. I They came and found us. But how far away were we from the house? Do you remember?
We were actually down the street. I believe they said about 5 or 6 houses down on the opposite side.
5 or 6 houses on the opposite side. Like if we couldn't reach anybody, like okay, if we were here in Canada, uh, if we are here in Canada where we don't have nephews or nieces close by, I would have to call my friend George and say, George, can you? We are lost. can you come find us? and that's going to be very awkward, right? Uh, Never mind that if our friends even have time at that precise moment. Uh, Now, here is a tip. Okay, here's a tip. In case any of you, disabled, blind, ever run into that situation, you get dropped off at the wrong place, you have no idea where you are at, you call friends and families and they don't have time to come look for you, call the cop. Okay, call the cop. Call 911. Call 911. Okay, that's one way. Call a taxi, not a Lyft, not a Uber. Call an actual taxi. Okay, taxi drivers are more driven. They make more money. They're more motivated. Okay, I actually did this before. I'll share this with you guys. There was one time bus driver dropped me off at the wrong place because it was winter, it was everything covered in snow, and the bus had to detour, and the bus driver didn't let me know we were having to detour. So I got off the bus thinking that I was at my stop, and all the while I was like two stops over. So, like I said, it was snow and ice everywhere, really, really cold. I wandered around for like 10 minutes, feeling like I was going to freeze to death. So I grabbed my cell phone and I called a taxi. I said, "Look, I'm blind. I'm totally lost. This is my general location." And I go. I asked my phone. I asked Siri, "Where am I?" And Siri gave me, "You're on Stevenston Highway. Your address is blah blah blah." So I gave that address to the taxi driver. I said, "Look, this is what my GPS is telling me. I'm blind and totally lost. And it's really cold. I need you to send someone here to find me right now." And they showed up and they found me no problem. Like how hard could it be to spot a blind guy in the snow? So if this kind of thing ever happened to you, don't be scared to call the police. Don't be scared to call a cab. Okay, uh, these are just a quick solution for things like that. It's not nice that things like this happen, but this is just like one of the ways to get out of it. Um, So now I want to actually talk about the experience we just had on Friday, uh, September 13th. Uh, Kitten, for those of you who are not local and don't remember, September 13th, it was pouring rain. It was raining so hard in Vancouver, Richmond area. Like I had puddles in my yard that go up to like 8 inches. It was a crazy rainy day. We were out and about. I won't say what for because we are going to probably do an episode on what we got that day. So I'm not going to go into that. But okay, we were out and about on this crazy cold rainy day, and it was time to go home. We were at the Pacific Center shopping center in Vancouver and West Georgia. Sorry, Pacific Center, that if this bring bad press, but this have to be pointed out, right? Um, those of you who are local know that Pacific Center and West Georgia is lousy place for cars. Like most of my friends totally refuse to drive there. Most of my friends will say they rather take the bus there because the traffic, the streets there are so crazy. It's almost impossible to drive. A lot of the streets are like one way only. A lot of streets have restrictions, bus lane only, bus only, bicycle only. It's like crazy, crazy area. Okay, um, so we were ready to go home. We went outside the mall, one of the mall's entrance, and we called Lyft. We got this crazy Lyft driver who barely spoke any English. He's like, I don't know, Middle Eastern, East Indian or whatever. I'm not even going to imitate his accent because that's disrespectful for some people. But he on our app, we said we're both totally blind. We're standing right outside the mall entrance by the Sephora store. Okay, you can see the Sephora store from the sign from outside, black and white stripes sign from outside, very visible. Okay, please come find us because we're both totally blind. We can't see you. The driver got on the phone with me, and again, I'm not going to imitate his accent, but he's basically, "Hey, dude, I'm here. Where are you?" I said, "Well, we are right outside the mall." He said, "Which entrance? Which entrance are you outside?" I said, "Well, we are at the Sephora entrance." He said, "Well, I don't know any Sephora. I'm at the London Drug entrance." Well, I said, "Well, I am at the Sephora entrance, and we are both totally blind. There's no way for us to get to the London Drug entrance. Can you come around to the Sephora side?" I even gave him the street name. And he said, "No, man, no, man. There's crazy traffic. I can't get over there. You come here." I said, "I can't. I'm totally blind." And he said, I drove by there already, and you didn't see me." By this time, I was ready to lose my shit. Okay, for those of you who don't know this, I'm going to lay this out. I'm going to let you in on a little bit of vulnerability for most of us. It physically hurts for a kitten and myself to have to say I am blind over and over again. Let's ask kitten, how does it feel when you have to say that? Like, I say I'm blind.
When I have to repeat that I'm blind, it further embarrasses me to make me feel like I'm not even speaking a comprehensible phrase.
Yeah, it's like, which part of I'm blind don't you understand? So okay, I understood. Like I knew there was a language barrier. I even changed the way I was saying it. I said, "Look, I'm blind. I cannot see. I cannot find your car. You need to find me." And then the guy said, "You just look. You just look. Look, look. White Toyota. You just look." I said, "My eyes do not work. I cannot see. I am blind." By this time, I was like really trying to hold it in. Like in my head, I want to scream, "I am fucking blind." Happy now? You want to hear me say that 20 more times? I'm fucking blind. My eyes don't work. I can't friggin' see. For someone like me, who has been uh, very independent and high profile most of my adult life, as a martial artist, as a filmmaker, as a musician. I've entertained thousands of people. I have made videos. I have educated people. To physically say I am blind, I can't see, it's hurtful. Okay, it's it's the one chink in my armor that I will freely admit that I need to work on. That to actually say I cannot see it, it hurts. Okay, because I don't know if you guys thought about this before. Most of us don't want to be blind. Most of us hate to be blind. Most of us, even when we deal with it really well, we are trying to make the best of it, right? For us to have to say this over and over again to a stranger who barely speaks English and who insists on, "You come find me, you look at the white car," it's like, it was traumatizing. And of course, by then, we standing out there in the rain, and Kitten was starting to lose her shit, and I was like trying very hard not to cuss at the driver. Um, in the end, the driver just drove off and canceled the ride on us, and we had to. At that point, we were left standing there in the rain, thinking, "Is there even a point calling another one? Because if we call another one, we might have to repeat this whole process over again. I'm blind. I can't see you. Can you can't find us? What do you mean find you? Can't find you? What do you mean white car? I just told you I'm blind." It's not cool. So my solution brain kicked in. I grabbed my phone. I called Pacific Center customer service. I said, we are two blind people standing outside the Sephora entrance. We got a situation here. I need you to send security right now. And luckily, security showed up, and I explained the situation. We are trying to get a Lyft ride, and the freaking Lyft driver left us. They can't seem to find us. Can you help us? And the security guard was kind enough to grab my phone and actually Kitten's phone. He took Kitten's phone and called the Lyft again. And this time, the security guard stay on the phone with the Lyft driver. He basically told the Lyft driver, do not hang up. I want you to drive and keep me on the phone so I can direct you where to go. And that worked out in the end. What a stupid, traumatizing experience to the end of a nice, happy day. I'm going to tell you that it's crazy. It's this is why so many blind people are so angry. This is why so many blind people are so fearful. Because when we step out of the comfort of our home, we may run into this kind of situation anytime, any day, maybe every day. I want, if for nothing else, for anyone who watched this video, assuming people are still watching after this long rambling rant, um, to be aware of something like this. Okay, like when you have a blind friend, when you have a disabled friend, every time they go out, they face discrimination, they face humiliation, they have to deal with shame, they have to deal with insecurity, they have to deal with being abandoned. So don't make it seem like we are being lazy when we ask, hey George, can you just go to the store and grab a jug of milk for me? Because for you, it's simple. You drive there, you grab the milk, you drive home. For us, it can be very, very traumatizing. Thank you for paying attention to our rant today. We'll be back again either tomorrow or next day, but hopefully a happier video. For now, have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.